afternoon, good morning, good evening, race fans. Welcome back here to Kart Chaser, where we have micro mini qualifying here for the K1 circuit here. The Indy Karting Challenge is live, and it's micro and mini qualifying going here. And it's going to be myself, Bradley Dalton, here in the booth, and I'm going to be joined by Taylor. Taylor, are you with me, buddy? And how are you feeling after the lunch break here, getting back in for our afternoon coverage?
Here, let's try one more thing here, and let's see what happens through the field as we work our way through around the circuit. James Fox currently at the front of the field right now. And yes, I am back. Sorry about all that, but hopefully we are get set. But Bradley, a lot of great racing we saw this morning. James Fox back at it once again with currently the fastest time in qualifying.
Yeah, and no surprise there to see James Fox up front here. We're going to see a lot of the same names this morning this morning that we saw this afternoon that we saw this morning. So don't be surprised if some of these names, if you joined us for our morning coverage here from Whiteland Raceway Park, look familiar. Taylor, it's one of the things I enjoy about the way the K1 circuit runs their sessions, is that they run some classes in the morning, some in the afternoon, and it gives a nice overlap where drivers can race one class in the morning and run another one in the afternoon, and a lot of times you see them take advantage of that.
Absolutely, and those two right there at the front of the field, James Fox and Grayson White, are those ones that are towards the front of the field, and we're going to see how it all plays out.
This is going to be an exciting one to watch here today and see how things go. 1:15 left in qualifying, and right now times are looking really good here for Fox and White as they go through. 49.4 is the best time for James Fox, who is looking fairly smooth and consistent. Again, just as we saw this morning, going through the bus stop, now heading into Daytona, and you can see here they're running the micro minis. Now this morning it was the 206 Sportsmen's, or the 206 Cadets and 206 Sportsmen's, which are the Briggs and Stratton engines, and now it's the IME engines here in the micro and mini Swift. Slightly lighter carts as well. The micro Swifts only weigh 225 pounds, where the 206 Cadets are 245. Makes things a little bit more nimble.
Absolutely, and it just showcases, it's pretty much those levels. This class here we would see on the national schedule for a lot of the major events like the Stars Championship Series, SCUSA Pro Tour, as well as also the United States Pro Kart Series, and also we'll be seeing the micro and mini Swift divisions competing at the Super Nats 28 later on this year in Las Vegas. So great to see some of these drivers. Who knows? We may see a couple of these drivers who are competing here at Whiteland, racing it out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway later on in 2025. As qualifying's just about wrapped up, checkered flag in the air. And if James Fox can hold on, he will currently be your pole sitter for the action this afternoon. Across the line they'll go, checkered flag, and James Fox sets fastest lap of the race with a 49.267. Maxwell will be P3. Bo Lazier and Patrick McNeely looking not to improve as well. But we'll then move on to the mini Swift qualifying, which will be up here in a few short moments.
Yeah, mini Swift here again. This is the equivalent of what we had with 206 Sportsman this morning. Again, 20 pounds lighter, but same ages here with the IME engines as opposed to the Briggs and Strattons that we saw this morning. It's going to produce some interesting racing all the way around. I'm excited to see it and see how it plays out here. We've got a very, very stacked afternoon, you have to say here. And I got to ask, what class are you most excited for?
Well, you know what? We have a lot of great classes here today. My personal favorite that I'm looking forward to this afternoon, I'm gonna have to say, is gonna be our KA senior category. Always provides some exciting racing. A lot of the drivers we would also see out on the national tours sometimes will make an appearance in that group. But as they get set, don't forget your 206 mediums are now approaching out on the circuit. Or is that going to be our mini Swift? No, it is 206 maybe. looking to see here. We'll find out once they come out onto the circuit, but I think that is also more of our mini Swift category. So a little bit bigger field compared to our micro Swifts as they make their way out onto the circuit for this category. And it is the mini Swift. Here are some of the drivers to keep an eye on. Blake Martinez, who is currently your points leader, has picked up 2 wins this season, along with several other drivers, Kason Hendrickson, Daniel Dragunov, Danny O'Gara, and Christopher Heinzen. Some of your drivers to keep an eye on in your mini Swift category in qualifying here today as they work their way out on the opening lap. Hendrickson leads the way in that number 2 machine with O'Gara right there behind as they climb the Daytona banking and will move on their way through.
Yeah, coming in through the hairpin here, you can already see here the way they are running in the mini Swift, kind of looking slightly different setup compared to the micro Swifts, compared to what we saw this morning from a lot of our classes, looking at slightly different lines, slightly different pace. And you get the same thing that you get with micro and mini that you get out of cadet and sportsman classes. They are very eager to pass. They are very quick and nimble, and they look to put a challenge forward. Sometimes there's the case of even in qualifying, they treat qualifying like a little bit of a sort of mini heat session where sometimes it's not always about the fastest lap. Sometimes it's about being in the front of the pack and getting their way through. So watch them here as they'll try to leapfrog each other, coming through the Daytona banking here, going through, and it's a nice sunny day. No harm, no foul to be found there as the minis come across and look through to, you know, just find the time where they can get comfortable with the track. You're going to have a variety of skill levels out here on the mini micros here in the Grassroots Series, and you'll see, you know, that come through as times are coming around for this first setup. 3 minutes left to go, and it's O'Gara up in front with a 47.6, 4.5 tenths up on Austin Taylor.
Yeah, Austin Taylor, who won this morning's 206 Sportsman Division as well, looking to go back-to-back with starts in events that he competes in here today as he'll work his way around the circuit and get himself ready to go. Hopefully he could try that, but he's got to deal with Danny O'Gara as well, one of his competitors for this run. And I got to say, those two are going to be the favorites to keep an eye on in the mini Swift category as 2.5 minutes left to go in qualifying. No changes up at the front of the field right now. O'Gara with a 47.51, half a second faster. And just as I say that, Richard Dobbins moves up the leaderboard along with Kason Hendrickson up to P3 as those three will now improve upon their lap times, including Chase Thixton, who is out there making, I believe, his debut for the season.
I believe so, looking through and not doing bad at all. Thixton there in fourth in the 139 plated Kart, doing a fairly good time there, coming through half a second off here, seeing where more time can be found, where more pace can be given here. And you can see different lines through the hairpin being tested here by our minis as they go through. They're looking at just, you know, what different line can you take through the hairpin? Some of them are going to carry a little bit more speed and run it wide. Some of them are going to keep it together and go narrow. You just sort of have to watch and wait and see as they go through and around down into turn 1. Another passing opportunity we saw this morning was turn 2 right here, the left-hander, 180 degrees. And I have a feeling that especially in micros and minis, they're going to take full advantage of that as they go through. Minute 20 left to go here in qualifying.
As we watch on here, a lot of improvement going on. O'Gara dropping back quite a ways. He has quite a bit of work to do, over just under a tenth of a, or a little over a tenth of a second behind now, and he's got a good tow coming to help him out. Let's see if he's able to improve upon it here with just a minute to go left in qualifying. As we watch this group of three led by the number 1 of Austin Taylor, Danny O'Gara goes to the top, 47.286. He leads now with the pole position for the time being. No improvement in your top 3 as Chase Thixton moves up to P4, improves on his lap time. Blake Martinez moving up to P6 as well, dropping Liat Simonellik down to P7. So still a little bit of time. This should be the final lap for all of our competitors in qualifying.
That it should be here on a very hot and fun day here in Whiteland, Indiana. I was just looking up the weather here, and it is 92 degrees is the feel right now in the shade. 103 degrees is the real feel in the sun. 87-degree air temperature, wind gust of 7 miles an hour. So it is a hot day out there if you are on circuit as they come across the line here. Checkered flag is out. O'Gara is ahead of Dobbins. Thixton up into third. Hendrickson into fourth. And Taylor, your top five here. And it's Martinez, Simonelik, and Heinzen, the 8 karts here in mini Swift qualifying.
Great racing action for qualifying here. Next on the docket is your 206 medium category, who is coming out on the circuit. And taking a look at the championship standings for 206 medium, it's been a tight battle between two competitors who we've already seen so far today. Evan McQuirkadale and Braden Heber, your top two leading the championship, both of them with 3 wins apiece, and they always been putting on a stellar fight for the championship here, winning how it's pretty much one wins one week, the other wins the other race, and so that is how it will play out possibly here for the pole position for your 206 senior medium. We'll give them a few moments to clear the track and get set for the next round of qualifying.
.206 mediums running out on track here now as they get going, and this is going to be a class that is going to be really, really fun to watch, kind of akin to the KA juniors. This is the 15 and older class, 365-pound karts. Let's see how they do. Mini karts getting out onto the track here. We'll get an exact number of karts going in for qualifying here. I see at least a dozen. Do we have a baker's dozen? Well, I know there's at least a dozen going in to put in times here, Taylor. Kind of looking through, trying to get an idea of who is going to be where. This is going to be a competitive class, though. I have a feeling that when we get to the race, they're going to have some fireworks later.
Yeah, I see a couple of new faces competing for at least since the last time I called the race here for the Indy Karting Challenge. Reed Esslinger, Mike Hamaker, and Cindy Dodd competing here. Andrew Goldman we saw earlier today. Robert Carroll, Nick Patton also competing in today's action. Nicholas Nossman, who we've seen competed in this category, trying to take the fight to drivers like Braden Heber and Evan McQuirkadale. As they come across the line, it's Heber who will draw first blood and set the fast lap on the opening run. McQuirkadale, though, right behind. There's Levi Wilbur, and Adam Maxwell is the driver who finally gets his timing and scoring set right on his screen here as we get set coming out towards the back straightaway, towards the bus stop chicane, and it's going to be a good run right now for these drivers, and they have plenty of space between them, so this could be a good time, Brad, where we will see these drivers get some good toes down these long straightaways.
Yeah, this is going to be where I think the draft comes in very important, and you've got many drivers here in this 206 medium class. They're going to be looking to redeem themselves from this morning going through. Heber is the one I specifically think of that is going to be looking to have a run here in the afternoon that maybe will be a little bit better than the run he had this morning here. We kept seeing him drop first to third. We saw that twice over 2 laps. We'll see what happens here. First time's coming across the line here. Braden Heber up in front with Evan McQuirkadale in second, Levi Wilbur in third, Knotzman in fourth, and Adam Maxwell in P5 with the first times in, but plenty of time to get more times in, and I would anticipate that the times are going to drop pretty significantly as the karts continue along here, but we're already halfway through qualifying, so they're going to have to really ramp up the times.
I have a feeling we're going to see some times in the 49-second bracket for at least some of our top 5 competitors right now, as Adam Maxwell, so far your biggest mover, moving up 7 spots after qualifying. As there you see the number 2 machine right there of Andrew Goldman in the Burrell Art. keeping up with a couple of other competitors as Levi Wilbur, top of the leaderboard right now, 49.970. Nicholas Nossman moves up a spot. Same thing with Gage Justiano and Robert Carroll moving up one spot, as well as some of them improve upon their lap times. But Levi Wilbur is the gatekeeper with a 49-second lap.
Definitely not going to be the last 49-second lap we see here today as the karts continue along and go around. I mean, things will continue to heat up. Karts will continue to heat up. Tires will continue to heat up. Drivers will continue to heat up. Things are going to continue to get interesting down through the banking of Daytona. They go heading down into the hairpin of 13, and you can see again that different line depending on which kart you're driving, and kind of how you feel really is dependent on what line you take here. Levi Wilbur across the line even faster with a 49.950 as Braden Heber across the line with a 50.222. Let's see what this number 2 kart of Goldman can bring across. Crosses the line, and it's a 51.9. So still some time to be found for all of the karts for sure. Mike Haymaker is able to pull up another position into P9, but I still think more time can be found from everyone in 206 medium here. It's just a matter of getting the tire, getting the kart, getting everything to cooperate.
Absolutely, as the field works their way around the circuit, and already a couple of drivers trying to set themselves up here in these closing seconds. Levi Wilbur, Braden Heber, all trying to pick up a last few seconds on their times here as they come across the line. No improvement for your top two. Neither Nossman does not improve. McCorkadale might have taken it behind the pit towards the scale line as Gage Justiano does not improve. Maxwell still sitting in 6th, and I think he took it behind the scale line as well. And as the time continues to wind down, no improvement for anyone. As for most of these drivers running about 5 laps already, Maxwell only ran 1 lap and took it behind the pit wall.
Yeah, with as hot as it is, it kind of wouldn't surprise me either, because really, once you hit about lap 3, I don't think there's going to be too much improvement to be found unless it's in driver skill that is found. As checkered flag is coming through, Heber will cross the line here. Heber 50.063, so a little bit more time found, but still not as fast as Levi Wilbur. Nicholas Notzman crosses the line, holds it on into P3. P4, Evan McCorkindale will lock it in there. Gage Justiano in 5th. Adam Maxwell, Andrew Goldman, Nick Patton just crossed the line there, locks it in 8th, and make Andrew Goldman 6th because Maxwell will be 7th. Robert Carroll will be 8th. Nick Patton 9th. Mike Haymaker, Reed Esslinger, and Cindy Dodd, the 12 karts here in 206 senior medium.
Yeah, a quick little update on the weather as we talk about that here with the track starting to heat up. It's going to be a high of 88 degrees out there. So that track temperature with that asphalt is going to heat up even more, possibly approaching about 100-degree track or a little over 100-degree track temperature out there for these competitors. So it's going to be a little bit sticky out there for them, but they might hopefully can make the correct adjustments for their setup in order to be ready. Next on the docket is 206 juniors that are heading out onto the circuit. And another great class to keep an eye on. Currently, it is going to be Jordan Latham who is leading the point standings right now with his 1 win, but he has been Mr. Consistency with each round he's competed in. AJ Stoner, Thomas Anthony, and Carson Benjamin, some of the other competitors who have collected wins or multiple wins in this championship this season as we wait for the gates to open to release the karts. And gate is open on one side. They're ready to rock, roll, and rumble for qualifying, and away we go for 206 junior qualifying session here. And we're pretty much almost halfway through our qualifying session this morning. We still have the 206 Supermasters and Legends, then the KA category with the KA Senior / Master multi-class qualifying session as away they go to kick off 206 Junior. And across the line, Lucien Lazier will lead the field as he tries to see what he can do. And we are right about 12 karts possibly out there on the track. 11 karts, now 12.
I was trying to do the quick mental math to count through, but the blue of Laser there in the front kind of distracted me. The blue with the red fire suit there definitely caught my attention. I love bright, vibrant karts like that really stick out. I think it's the reason Heber sticks out so much in my head as well, because Braden Heaver runs that blue with that bright yellow green highlighter helmet running through. But yeah, it looks like 12 karts here in 206 Junior to go out and run times. Plenty of karts that are going to be quick, plenty of names that are familiar here to the Indy Karting Challenge. Some new faces, I believe, as well. So let's see where the first times come across here as they get going. And no surprise, on the first out, Lucian Laser, 52.184.
Absolutely. A couple of other new competitors who are here. We see Tyler Turner out there on the track. Looks like also Emmett King making their debut in the championship. Gio Nelson makes a return after missing the first 4 rounds. Will be here for round 5 and 6, as well as also this weekend's 7 and 8 round of the championship. Nolan Wade, who sits P7 in the championship, as well as Thomas Anthony, 2-time winner this season. He is 10th in the championship, but after missing 3 rounds this season, he's currently got a little bit of work to do here, as defending race winner Carson Benjamin is out on the track. I'm checking to see. I don't see Mr. Benjamin, so one of our championship competitors not here competing. In fact, one of our only 2-time winners this season.
Well, and I think that's one of the good things about the way that the K1, the Indy Karting Challenge is structured here at Whiteland, is the fact that, we run Saturday and we run Sunday, and it's separate rounds. So sometimes, things come up, and if you miss this Saturday round, you can afford to do that and still come in Sunday and run through and still have a good time. So sometimes, something will come up and drivers have to miss a round for one reason or another. So hopefully we can see them tomorrow, and it'd be nice to kind of see them go through. Currently 2 minutes left to go in qualifying, and fast times are just, flip-flopping like crazy. Lucian Laser up at the top, LePen, Anthony, Nico Santos, Nolan Wade going through. Now Thomas Anthony up back to the top. So this is a very, very competitive field here at the moment, with the top 10 separated by 1.2 seconds.
Great qualifying here throughout the field as we pick up some of your front runners. There's Lucian Laser right there, and I believe that could be the 317 of Thomas Anthony out there leading this group. With a minute and a half to go, he sets fast time with a 50.912. As there's one kart stuck there in the grass over there in the infield section. That's actually the 112 machine of Jordan Latham, who is trying to work his way. He does not improve upon his lap time. Mason Cleve moves up. Parker Dunn moves up. 3 spots for him. And here comes Thomas Anthony, and he improves on his lap time of 50.634.
And as those times continue, just to switch back and forth, it's so interesting to me to look, because I really expected Laser here to really be quick, having the help and, being in the draft. But it's actually turning out that Thomas Anthony, who is kind of running on his own near the very back of the pack, is the fastest one. But this is Lucian Laser and Jordan LePen who are running together. And I really expected these two to be kind of swapping fast times at the top. But then Thomas Anthony is just showing up, showing off at the moment with a 50.634, 0.4 of a second ahead here. And well, that gap is now a 1/10 of a second, as Jordan LePen is just a 1/10 of a second off there in the 112. Time's continuing to come through, but they've ran 5 laps now, 20 seconds left to go. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that, because Thomas Anthony just put in a 50.6. I was going to say, are the best times behind us, but no, clearly there's more time in these cards.
Yeah, I have a feeling we could see a 50-50 possibly coming out of qualifying here, especially with the pace that Thomas Anthony has been running. But you notice these drivers here, as the checkered flag is out, so this is their final attempt to set their fast lap around the track here. And as they do so, coming through the infield section of the circuit, Jordan Latham and Lucian Laser trying to get themselves ready for this final couple of corners, see if they can eke their way ahead of Thomas Anthony across the line. No improvement for either one of them as far as moving up to the pole position. And here comes Thomas Anthony. Does he improve on his lap time? He does, a 50-51. So called it. There we go, across the line here with the qualifying session. Emmett King will make his way around the circuit to complete his qualifying. But that concludes qualifying for your 206 juniors and the 206 Supermasters and 206 Legends. I believe they might be also doing the same thing with the Micro Minis, doing separate qualifying sessions for them. So we'll make sure to see here once they release them out on the track.
I swear, sometimes I do know what I'm talking about when I say that, like, the tires are good for like 4 really hard push laps, and then they drop through and you kind of don't get more time. And then every once in a while, the drivers love to just prove me wrong. Thomas Anthony, kudos to you for very much proving me wrong in that one, of just consistent improvement, lap after lap after lap after lap, 6 laps on track, and Thomas Anthony on the 6th lap had the fastest lap.
And with that, as the final kart makes his way down into the scale line, we'll open the gates and we'll let the Legends and Masters head out. We'll see if both classes are going to go out. It looks like they're going to keep combined both the classes out on the track, because that is a very big field out there.
And still more karts coming onto track. Look at that as we go through. That's a very good field to see coming through. Legends, of course, 50 and older, and Supermasters are 60 and older here. So I love seeing this go through, and it kind of reminds me, that karting is very much a family thing. Think about it. You've got tons of families here, a lot of last names that you're going to recognize, that, everyone from parents, grandparents, down to brothers and sisters, all the way down to, nieces, nephews, children, grandchildren. They all show up and they all race on a weekend. It's so much fun to watch.
It certainly is. And yes, it is combined classes. Both the Legends and the Supermasters are out there. Both your championship leaders, who we saw this morning, are also racing out there. The points leader for the Legends category is Mr. Brian Williams, who's that first kart out there. And then William McLaughlin leading in the Supermasters championship. Both of them, William McLaughlin has picked up 3 wins this season. And how about Brian Williams? 5 wins this season in the Legends category. The only time he lost a race was to Tom Harleman, who is right there in 3rd right now, as Williams sets the fastest lap with a 51.813.
Yeah, going through, this is going to be a very competitive class to watch with the Legends and the Supermasters all together. They're all going to be very quick, very wise going through, and it'll be interesting to really watch and see how they muscle these karts around and what sort of times they can pull out here. I would not be surprised, I'm going to say it, if we see 50-50s coming out here. 51.8 is the current time on top. I would not be surprised, because that's just a lap one time. If we start seeing those times come down quite significantly. 51.3 is now up to the top for Brian Williams here, with William McLaughlin in second with a 51.6. So maybe 50-50 is a little bit of a stretch, but can we get down into like the 51 flats?
I'll probably say a 59 is what I'll say. That will be my time guess, because I have a feeling with Brian Williams, we saw him out what his pace was in the Masters division earlier this morning, and he was running pretty significant lap times, and I think if he had just a little bit of a better run and started up towards the front, he could have had a good fight up there at the front of the field, as well as here they come through into the hairpin. And a little bit of issues, give and take. Some of the drivers just going to let them work their way through, not put any pressure. And across the start-finish line, Williams a 51.1, while McLaughlin a 51.3.
J. Ryan Williams, very, very quick here. 2 minutes left to go already. This is the thing with qualifying, is you really don't get time to mess around or play around. And, well, then you see karts go side by side like that through qualifying and flip positions, and you remember that we're all racers at heart running through. So top 4 currently separated by 0.6 of a second as they go around and continue to push and find time where they can, and really watch this field sort of spread through, everyone trying to get a bit of clean track or find a friend. I guess it just depends also on kind of what mood they're in. You know, do they want to find a friend to run with and draft with, or are they in the mood to race on their own? Right now, it seems like most of these Legends and Supermaster karts are pretty okay, just sort of being spread out and hot lapping on their own. So we have a 51.099 from J. Brian Williams up there in that number 75 plated kart.
And he's still got the chance of running one more lap, and he's tracking pretty good by the looks of it, of how he can improve upon that lap time for Mr. Brian Williams as he leads the charge. McLaughlin, 51.46 is the best he can do here as he works his way around the circuit. And so far, so good for him as he will hold on to the pole position in Supermasters.
See, 45 seconds left to go. We'll see how the karts handle as they come across the line here and out of the infield section. Everyone again spreading things out and just getting very set up in their runs going through. And let's see what times can be found here. Brian Williams crosses the line, 51.073, still improving. And there's an improvement from William McLaughlin to a 51.245. So more time being found from that number 56 plated kart. Everybody else crossing the line, kind of how they are now. Little bits of time improvement for everyone, but nobody making a significant jump here at the end of the session. 10 seconds left to go as they come through. So nobody's really making a big change here, and everyone will get one more shot here. This will be everyone's final lap.
Except for Chris Whitaker, who will not, and Donald Ball. Checker flag is out for them, but here comes the rest of the field as they make their way to the start-finish line. Here comes Brian Williams through the S's in the infield section. Out of the final corner, he will come across the start-finish line. And a 59.9. We called it. 59 is what we were expecting to see here from the pole position. William McLaughlin improves to set pole time in Supermasters with a 51.06. Parliament across, no improvement for him. Same thing with Danny Cutshaw and Travis Wilbur. Mike Buckert as well, 6th position. Matt Kirk as well in 7th. And then Clint Stillwell, Wesley Bullock, and Richard Lemasters crossing the line. No improvement for them as we get set for KA Seniors and Masters, the final qualifying session for the afternoon.
KA Seniors and Masters. This is going to be a fun 2 classes to combine through. KA Seniors, again, for those of you who may not be as familiar, 15 or older, and then KA Masters are ages 30 and older. What are the odds that we have like a dad and their son racing together? It's 1,000,000% possible and wouldn't surprise me here. You got to wonder, how's that dinner conversation go when you put together Senior Masters and then the son beats the dad there? You know, how do you think that conversation goes at the dinner table?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to go pretty exciting, but to take a look at the championship for both the KA Seniors and the KA Masters. In KA Seniors, it's AJ Lund who leads. He picked up 3 wins so far this season. And then for the Masters division, it's Joshua Nelson with 3 wins in Masters as well for him as well. A couple other notable drivers who have picked up wins is Elijah Fox and Austin Olds, who have picked up wins in the senior category. And the only other driver to win in Masters is Kevin Simonelik as well for his run in the KA Masters division as karts are rolling out onto the track for the final qualifying session. One kart appears to have stalled out there on the staging lane. Hopefully he'll get to go back out there and run for his chance of qualifying. But a pretty decent sized field for your KA category as they will now head out onto the track. Dane Van Dyke, another former winner this season. AJ Lund, you see there in second. Macy Galen as well. As we'll also have Austin Olds out there, who we've seen compete in the Stars Championship Series. So we have a total of 1 Masters driver, which is Joshua Nelson. The rest of the field is KA Senior categories, a total of 10 drivers out on the track.
See how this plays out here, because you know that Joshua Nelson is out there with something to prove. There's the only master kart out on track. We'll see how the KA Master mixes up with the rest of the KA Seniors coming through as times are going to start coming through across the line. Let's see what these first laps look like as they cross. 46.7 is the opening time there from the number 79. Austin Olds in the 67 with a 46 flat, 7/10 of a second up on the rest of the field right now. Let's see how things improve, though, because that one time early on, I don't think is going to be very much an indicator. There's still plenty of time to get more laps in, and one good outlap doesn't mean you're always the fastest.
Raider Santos moving up quite a bit up to P2, but has a lot of work to do to try and see if he can challenge for the pole position. Joshua Nelson, your KA Masters driver, is 7th overall in qualifying. As the field works their way around the circuit, second lap on the board, and AJ Lund, a 46 flat for him, and then Austin Olds responds with a 45.4. This is a driver who knows a thing or two about getting around Whiteland here with the K1 circuit. This is the home track for MPG, as this is their track where they do a lot of their testing, a lot of their work, and the home track where we will see a lot of the MPG group here today.
Yeah, no surprise whenever you show up to the home track. It's either going to be the best race of your life or it's going to be the worst race you've ever driven and you wish you would have just stayed in bed. That is just kind of the nature of home races, you'd have to argue. And right now it seems like it's going to go the way for Austin Olds that this is the best day he could be having as he runs that 45.413. He's lapping through. AJ Lund responds 45.253. And as Austin Olds was working through traffic, still managed to put in a 45.4. So let's see here as Austin Olds works out of the traffic how much more time Austin can find here. 2 minutes left to go. Should be able to get at least 2 or 3 more laps, respond to AJ Lund, and get a bit more time on the board.
Well, we know the KA Junior category this morning was able to break into, I believe, the 44-second bracket. So we should be able to see these drivers break the 44-second bracket pretty easily if they get some clear track for them. As they snake their way through, there is one of the Carlos Sainz karts, I believe, right there. And across the line, there it is, Austin Olds, a 44.973 to take over the top step here in qualifying with a minute and a half to go.
28 hundredths of a second ahead of AJ Lund. Raider Santos crosses the line 45.482, his best lap of the session, but still half a second off of Austin Olds here. So everyone chasing that 44 second, that 44 something is what they're all chasing right now. And right now, Austin Olds, the only person able to do that. A minute and 10 seconds left to go in this qualifying session, bringing things through and around. And again, just kind of what I'm watching in qualifying as much as the times is the different lines the drivers are sort of taking. Some of them are really taking a different line out of Daytona through the hairpin. I don't know if you've noticed that as much as I have, but it seems like a lot of them are already starting to think about alternate lines out of the hairpin into the infield section there at the back end of the lap to maybe think about how they're going to set things up later as a 44.7 comes in from Austin Olds. Just ridiculous time.
He knows a thing or two about getting around this track, and I gotta say, he's gonna be one to watch and putting on a show for the feature later on today. And as you do, you see a couple of drivers trying to take different lines through this corner here, especially the hairpin, but mostly also in the infield section right here. These final couple of corners in the S's, I've seen some drivers take a little bit of a higher line on corner entry, then get that lower run off corner exit as AJ Lund improves his lap time along with Dane Van Dyke. Macy Galen moving up a couple of spots into the top 5 with a 45.873. Checkered flag, though, is in the air across the line for Raider Santos, who will start in P4 by the looks of it, improving on his lap time with a 45.37. And here comes the rest of the field. No improvement for those drivers of Jaden Burton and Kevin Simonelik. And we'll see if anyone else can try to improve upon their lap times here. As here comes your pole sitter, I believe Austin Olds decided to take it behind the wall here and end his qualifying before he crossed the line. AJ Lund does not improve, but Dane Van Dyke moving up to P2 in qualifying here. Great drive on the final couple of corners to improve upon his lap time.
A great drive from all of them here, getting their times in as Olds, Van Dyke, Lund, Santos, Gallion, Dean, Simonelik, Nelson, Burton, Estrada, and then that is the 10 karts here in the Masters Senior Duo, and I think that's our qualifying done here, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very quick qualifying run. as they go through. We're going to step aside, take a quick break here, let all the drivers reset. When we come back, it's 5 minutes plus 2 laps here for the heat, for the micros, and then the minis, and then we run it all again for the same order you just saw here on Kart Chaser. We'll be right back.